Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived because we are here with My Hero Academia. If this is your first time coming by the channel, this is the Amateur Otaku Podcast where we're recapping every single chapter of My Hero Academia every week, all the way until we get to the inevitable end of this amazing series. Joining me, as always, are my great friends and co-hosts Isaac Wolf and Leo Rydell. Guys, this is an interesting chapter, but before we get into that, we did have some news. I just want to get your quick thoughts on it. So, first up, My Hero Academia was the focal point and the focus of this week's cover of Weekly Shonen Jump. I'm going to start with you, Leo. What are your thoughts on just this cover of Deku and Uraraka? I think it looks pretty cool.
That's a cool cover, man. I like the cape. I like the scarf. He wears it so much different than Gran Torino. It looks more like a cool cape than like just a scarf. Yeah. So it's looking pretty tight, man. I like the colors. Look, man, I'm glad we got rid of the bunny ears. we're on track here, on track to another better costume. Doesn't just look like the UA training outfit, so it's looking pretty tight, man. Also, it looks like MHA is just continuing to dominate the anime storm, so
right.
Happy about that.
What about you, Isaac? What are your thoughts on the cover?
It's really solid. And like they said, finally, no bunny ears. I mean, it made sense about the bunny ears at the beginning, considering, well, it was a symbol of of All Might's hairstyle and, well, big fanboy. So now he's his own superhero. So
definitely. I want to know your guys' thoughts on the color scheme here, because this has been frying people's brains the last few days as they try and figure out what color his costume is. Some people think it's dark green and gold. Some think it's dark green and white. Others think it's green and yellow, green and black, black and orange, black and gold, and black and gray. What do you guys see here?
It looks like a combo of all those predictions. I'm seeing a little green, I'm seeing a little white, a little bit of yellow, orange, and black. Mm-hmm. I kind of like it because to me, it kind of seems like it is a mix of his biggest influences. You've got a little Bakugo in there. You got the green from himself. You've got the yellowish from All Might and Gran Torino. It kind of all makes sense to me.
Yeah, I see green and white. That's all I see here. And of course, the yellow cape. I'm going to pull up a tweet that I posted about this. Just so you guys can see where my head's at. Give me 1 second here.
I don't know, that little stripe on the shoulder looking kind of orange, ain't it?
I think it's lighting, and it looks like his original costume. You see the stripe on the side here? It's the exact same stripe, right?
Oh yeah, but maybe a black and yellowish change.
That's the thing. Is it black and yellow, or is it just a dark green and the lighting is making the white appear to be a gold color? This is the dress all over again, because nobody can figure out what this looks like.
Deku, turn around, shit.
Right? What about you, Isaac? Any thoughts on what the color palette is on this thing?
I think it's purple.
I should have known better than to ask Isaac's opinion on this cover. So we're just going to move on from that, I guess. Another bit of news. We have our first promo image of season 6, which is coming autumn 2022. That is the upcoming war arc for the anime. What are your guys' thoughts on this being the first promo image? I thought it was a choice that Deku or Shigaraki or any of our students are on this cover.
Well, first and foremost, I will say my eyes probably went straight to midnight first. I'll just come out and say that. And then, I definitely noticed the lack of 1A. There's no class 1A students on this poster, but it's making sense for where the story's about to go here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love Endeavor being front and center, and I love how we included Wash and how Fat Gum's too big to fit in the image. It's just those little touches that are just kind of funny to me. But yeah, Midnight, Mountain Lady, and Miracle they're just drawing all the attention on the side of this image.
I mean, can you blame people?
Nope.
Look, Mountain Lady,
Yes.
Mountain Lady looking right, bro. I mean, let's be real here.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know of more people than one that will have people to mount them. So that's another story.
Jesus, dude, really? I can't recover from that, so we're just gonna move on. If you're still with us, we are now going to be talking about My Hero Academia, chapter 348, Unrequited. Spoiler alert if you're not caught up on the latest chapter. And just to make sure everybody knows what this chapter is about, we're picking up where we left off with Deku being snatched through that portal. Now we're seeing what's going on with him, Toga, Uraraka, Asui, and whoever else is at that battlefield fighting all those Nomu. When this chapter starts, I love the narration. And it's like, I don't know who's talking, but I feel like it's Bakugo because the final thing the narrator says is because for all of his triumphs, he was still just a damned nerd. And
Yeah.
that made me fall out laughing.
That has to be Bakugo.
You'd think, right? So in this chapter, we have the I love you confession from Himiko Toga. And Deku is dense as ever, because I feel like this is knowledge that everybody in the series probably should have had, but Deku just doesn't. I don't know about you guys, but the shock on his face is laughable, and they finally cleared up something that I brought up during our one of our season 5 episodes of that boy that Toga is thinking about is a guy who just happens to look exactly like Deku, which is a strange choice to me. It threw me off for like 3 years after reading NBA, and then the anime kind of resurfaced that the kid with the black hair who looks like Deku. What are your thoughts on like Deku and Uraraka's response to Toga? Because I feel like everything's resolved a little too quickly.
Yeah, this chapter was kind of just a fly-by-night type of deal where it was kind of like, oh, okay. She confessed. And then Ochako and Asui got in the way and were like, all right, Deku, you don't need to worry about this. See you later.
Yeah.
And I was kind of just like, oh, okay. Well,
yeah, it's like
awesome. That's it.
That's the chapter. That's why it's like, I'm glad we had some news to talk about this week because there's not much to break down or get into with this chapter. I'm interested to see what Uraraka does with Toga, like confronting her here because of what happened in the previous war, the previous confrontation, and that Uraraka's been thinking about that conversation pretty much every day until this point. So that's interesting. I don't know why it feels like we just needed to manufacture stakes, right? Of the Baku squad, Katsuki and the Bakugos are fighting Shigaraki, and Deku's not there. It feels like we just needed to figure out a way to get Deku off the board to make him have to run back because nothing of consequence ever really happens.
Yeah, I'm still worried about those the Bakugo team because I just am like, what is going on while all this tuffling and quarreling is happening? What's going on back with Team Bakugo is my question. And also, what was the implications of Toga saying, after all, you and I both fell for the same? What was all that about? I was like, what?
I feel like she was going to say, you and I both fell for the same boy.
Yeah.
And then we get the thump.
Get cut off, man.
Gotta love Sue being a homie. And like, yeah, no, we're going to let Uraraka reveal that when she's ready. Shut up.
Yeah, and then Deku's like, I guess we are both kind of weird. I'm like, Deku, what you thinking about over there, my man?
Again, he's an idiot. And I love that the narration at the beginning of this is like, Deku's he's not smart when it comes to this romantic stuff. He's great at the hero stuff,
He's
but
still a damn nerd.
he's still a damn nerd. Because like you see the look that Uraraka's giving him, and it's a look of trust, right? I got you. That's what we learned from season 5. That is the A and B arc, and Deku's trying to figure out Black Whip, and she says, "Don't worry, I got you." It's the exact same paneling as that chapter, which I think is pretty cool. A nice callback. And so I don't think anything romantic's happening in that situation. But dude, this entire chapter is like, my guy, this entire battlefield is in love with you, man, and you don't know it.
I mean, I don't think Sue is, but I definitely think Ochako and Himiko Toga are both into him. This chapter makes me think it is going to end up being Deku Ochako.
Was there ever any doubt?
I mean,
I was gonna say the same thing.
You kind of planted a seed of doubt in my mind a little bit, Mike. Like I kind of was like thinking like, oh, well, maybe they will kind of pull it. All right, here we go, guys. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Maybe they will pull a Naruto. With that girl, he'll get with somebody who's been like watching him the whole time, which maybe would have been Sue, but I don't see that happening in this chapter. Because like you said, it kind of seems like she's like swooped in and was like, no, I'm away from my homegirl. Like she was kind of being the wing woman for her a bit. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I definitely am seeing the Ochako Deku thing being like a permanent. And I think he's finally starting to like figure it out probably. Because he hasn't thought about it this entire series at all.
Not at all. And that's why I'm glad we like focused on that in some of our discussions of like Deku blushes sometimes when he's talking to Uraraka, but his response is, I'm talking to a girl, not I'm in love with this girl. So he'd do the same thing with Hatsume, with Sue, with Yaoyorozu. And so it's like, he's not in tune with what's happening or his friendship dynamic with Uraraka. And so I feel like this, maybe it'll finally click. Like maybe it finally clicked in this chapter. But what do you guys think is going to happen between him and, Uraraka and Toga? Because one thing I did like was Toga, you see this last page, and you see all of like the wires and the cords like spewing from the back of her, which is very similar to Deku's Black Whip and Uraraka's grapples. And so I think it's funny how they're all evolving into a similar power set, which is just a funny like mirror of all three of them, which is why they're forever linked for some reason. Do you think Uraraka, is this when Uraraka saves her? Or is she just doomed?
I think Uraraka saves her.
Okay.
Now, where I think I'm kind of back and forth is if she'll want to be saved.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure it's going to be this like, oh yeah, like we're best friends. Let's hold hands now and be welcome to UA. You know what I mean? I think it could very well look like, hey, I'm saving you, but Toga feels like it's too late. And thank you for saving me and putting my mind in a good place before I die, sort of scenario.
Oh, you
with Leo.
Dead. I was thinking Tartarus. You're thinking dead, huh? That's crazy.
Thinking what, Mike?
I was thinking we were just going to send her to prison. I wasn't considering killing her.
Okay. She gets banished to the Shadow Realm since we want to put up with that kind of shit. All right. She'll get banished to the Shadow Realm and be in prison for the rest of her life. Well, we can go with that.
Yeah.
Doesn't he die in the original version that it's not the censored 4-kid stuff? But that's a different story.
Yep. Yu-Gi-Oh! Anytime they deal with the quote-unquote Shadow Realm, they're actually sending people to hell.
Yeah. I think she'd just go to Tartarus. But I guess it's possible that she does end up dying. I wouldn't take that. I'm not going to say it's a definite no. This chapter is also very suggestive of like, there's this entire full page spread and it's just, tell me, hero, what do you want to do to me? which is just like,
Yeah,
as Isaac
like,
would say,
whoa.
phrasing.
Like, that was kind of hot, wasn't it? Like, it's getting a little hot on My Hero Hot Academia here. Jeez.
Yeah, and like the focus Horikoshi's putting on Toga's eyes in this chapter is just like, okay. If Deku doesn't get the point now, he never will.
Let's be real here. Toga want that dick. She's pretty much just saying it straight up.
Deku, right?
What is it with our previous My Hero Academia with Atlantis chapter now this?
They don't call him Horny Koshi for no reason, bro.
I mean, well, yeah, look at the way Yaoyorozu was drawn.
Look how Yaoyorozu's drawn. Again, going
Midnight, Mountain Lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. I mean, come on. And Uraraka's kind of picking this one too.
Right. Like, we know what you do, Horikoshi. We know.
And in the panel, page 10, when Sue's coming in with that kick, she's also pretty thick in that one too. So it's like, I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, this chapter was only 13 pages. It went by pretty quickly. How long do you think it's going to take Deku to get to that battlefield? A chapter? Is he going to be there next chapter? I don't know how fast he is.
I don't know if he's going to be there. Also, we don't know where the separation really is. I mean, I don't think there's really been a parameter set for how distant these warp gates are.
I think All Might mentioned that. Let me check here. I'm pretty sure it's a few chapters back, but when All Might was like making up the plan, he said we have to keep them X amount of distance away.
Okay.
What was that, like 10 miles away or something like that was the maximum range?
It's gonna be a hefty journey if it's 10 miles.
Yeah. So that's where Float and Black Whip and Fa Jin all come in, right? He's gonna have to just like fly down there as fast as possible.
Quickly.
This is a very, like, I'm not gonna say fillery, but it changed nothing from last week.
Yeah.
We set up that Toga's done with Uraraka's bullcrap, which is cool, I guess. But that payoff's not going to be until next chapter, 2 chapters from now. Same thing with Deku leaving. It's just kind of like, okay, this is cool stuff is being set up, but I feel like that was already done a chapter or 2 ago.
Yeah, this could have been part of last chapter, this whole chapter, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
But it's okay. I mean, it also just reaffirms that clearly Ochako has strong feelings. Even though this is Toga's chapter to admit how she feels about Deku, it does also reaffirm how Ochako feels. Yeah, and I think it kind of gives Deku a bit of perspective on what actual romantic feelings are now. Because, I mean, our guy had no idea.
Yeah, our guy's pretty dumb. Let's just call it what it is, because he's like a boyfriend, like one you take to an amusement park for a date, or someone you split crepes with. And somebody on Twitter made a compilation of, like, if you look at the EDs, the ending credits for every season of My Hero Academia, there is a scene where he and Uraraka and the group are at an amusement park eating crepes. And so it's like, in canon, he technically already went on a date with Uraraka, but he's too dumb to realize it.
Yeah, it's time to grow up, Deku. Women are real.
I just love Ochako in this chapter, though, because like all this is happening, and we could have been really cliche and like this is where she professes her love to Deku and blah blah blah, but she just like, nope, we got to fight this villain. We got to save Toga, stop these no moves. She even gets stabbed at a certain point and shakes it off. It's just like, dang, Uraraka, when you become such a badass?
Well, I'm glad she's not falling into the shonen female stereotype of her character really only existing to be a love interest to the main character. Like, she feels like this feels like an actual character to me.
Yeah.
And no offense to like Hinata or any characters like that. But I mean, that's typically what they end up being, is just a device for the character. I mean, remember what happened when Hinata got right in the middle of pain in Naruto? We remember what the fuck happened right there. So I just am glad to see a strong female protagonist who's like dukes up on the battlefield. I'm not letting my guard down yet.
Yeah.
And we get to actually follow a battle, because it seems like the next probably 2 or 3 chapters might be the two of them fighting, with some very big confessions exchanged between the two.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Hinata, because Hinata's a character where it's like, why was she even a ninja? You know?
Oh, well, I think Hinata was like a very formidable fighter in her own right, but I mean, let's be real. Naruto dialed it all the way to 10,000 when it came to like Dragon Ball Z mode at the end there, that nobody could stand up to pain except Naruto or Sasuke.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even all the way back, it's like it's her and Neji's on a different level than Hinata. So it's like every level of the story, she's always like the weakest person there.
Yeah, but let's be real
like,
here. She was thrown into like the most powerful opponent, because like, okay, you throw Hinata versus Sakura in. I mean, clearly Hinata is going to wipe the floor with Sakura, but I think she was just kind of thrown into the face of the most powerful villains in Naruto, with Neji being like probably the first like quote unquote villain that you see in Naruto, but like he's like a step above everybody else anyway. So it's kind of like, I feel like Hinata never got that moment to really shine, except in some of those filler episodes. God bless us who went through the 100 episodes of filler after Naruto, because that was a fucking chore. But
I didn't watch any filler, and I don't regret it.
It's not worth going back. Let's just say that.
Naruto has some of the worst fillers in Shonen Jump, honestly.
Period. After Naruto versus Sasuke, it's a good probably 100 episodes of filler.
Yep, I noticed that when I was watching it on Netflix, and I'm like, this is the end of the story. Why are there 3 seasons left on here?
Right. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And it's just like, oh, it's just Naruto with a different Konoha 11 team on a mission. And you're just like, okay, is this really contributing to the story that much? No. Move on.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad with Uraraka, we're putting her in the situation, right? Of even if she's not the fighter that Bakugo, Shoto, or Deku are supposed to be, not on that level, if she can have a good, strong emotional beat, or, you know, the idea of being a rescue hero, that's what she wants to be, right? Not a fighter, but basically a rescue type. This is it, right? Can she rescue this broken teenager and bring Toga back to some sense of the light? Even though, again, like I like in this chapter, Danger Sense doesn't go off, and it confirmed our theories from a week or 2 ago that Danger Sense isn't working because Toga has no intention of hurting anybody. Stabbing is how she shows affection. Drinking blood is how she shows affection. And so, therefore, there's no malicious intent, right? How does Uraraka counteract that idea, right? Of how can you save somebody who's so far gone that she's not even there, right? Emotionally, she is so twisted. How do you bring her back?
Uraraka about to have a heroic moment here, because I kind of feel like they're gonna be able to relate, both of them having feelings for someone who absolutely has no idea and does not notice the feelings that they have for him. I think they'll be able to relate and and come together, and Uraraka will be the one to save her, quote unquote. I think the only unsavable member of the League of Villains is Dabi. I think that dude is just not there. There's no coming back. And if he is saved, look, I would be actually kind of happy if him and Shoto came to an agreement and there was a way to like mentally bring him back. But I just think there's no coming back for that guy.
Yeah, I'm with you in that regard.
I don't. Go ahead, Isaac. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I don't want to save Dabi, because I want something to stick, right? Like if we're going to try and save Tomura, or we're trying to save Toga and Spinner and the rest, I want at least one of them to go down, right? I want one of them to be the evil threat. Like it reminds me of kind of like Naruto, but I'm gonna use Avatar Last Airbender so we can stop bringing up Naruto. It reminds me of in Avatar, we redeem Mei, Ty Lee, Zuko, but we don't redeem Azula. And I feel like Azula was more broken than Zuko. I feel like
oh yeah.
I feel like they should have tried harder to save Azula because she's just a 14-year-old girl. But on the flip side of that, it's like one of them has to stay evil. Not everybody's going to get that happy ending. And
All
so
right. We are so out of left field here, but I have to just weigh in on the Azula stuff.
Go ahead.
She grew up enjoying that shit. Zuko did not.
Right. Excuse me.
And I think
talk
that's
about Avatar all day.
Dobby. I think that's the case for Dobby here.
Yeah.
Is he's kind of like, I want to be on the battlefield. I want to make Endeavor feel like crap. I want to make him feel worse than I felt when I burned myself nearly alive. I think he's like out for thirst and revenge, whereas everybody else kind of has the mindset of making a world that is accepting of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even Shigaraki can be swayed, but Dobby, yeah, he ain't. Oh, Blue Fire, man! Anybody that uses Blue Fire is just unsavable.
Certified crazy. But Dobby, much like Azula, I feel like they're that way because of their father. Right, Azula enjoys it because that's what Ozai wanted out of her. That's why he kept saying she's perfect, Zuko's not.
Yep.
Because she had that killer instinct that he wanted her to have. If he was a better dad, I'm sure she would have turned out 1,000 times better. And like, as much as we're doing to fix Endeavor, he was a terrible father. He only had those kids to get the right mixture of fire and ice, right? So when Dobby is setting himself ablaze and burning himself, and then Shoto comes up being perfect, that I can totally see why he loses it. And it's like he's effectively been replaced by Shoto.
Yeah.
And now he wants to get revenge on his father for putting him through hell.
Does anybody think he's gonna like burn himself, essentially like kind of just become a walking flame to go up against Shoto? Like that's the final battle between the two of them. It's like Dobby's just fire.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Dobby just like dies fighting Shoto, because again, we've shown that his quirk is unstable and that it hurts himself. So he might end up just burning out fighting Shoto in Endeavor. Because I mean, Tenya's there too, so he's got to fight Ida and Shoto. That ain't gonna be easy.
Yeah, man, it ain't gonna be easy with Ida because you got a dude that can go like light speed and a fire and ice guy. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I have no worries that Shoto's gonna handle Dobby fairly easily. That's why it's like all the stakes are on Katsuki and the Bakugos right now. Can Deku get there in time before major damage is done? Because we already got Murako losing limbs again, so fingers crossed.
I don't know if the Shoto Dobby matchup is as easy as you're making it sound, though. I think that they're about matched when it comes for strength. With Dobby potentially having the edge.
I feel like the ice is the trump card, though, right?
I mean,
isn't Dobby's fire hot enough to melt that? Because it's blue flame and it's hotter than Endeavor or Shoto's flames. I kind of feel like if you shoot ice straight at Dobby, he'll just melt it on sight. Because it's so hot. Like the fire is so hot that it's a different color.
Also, let's remember, Dobby doesn't care about what's happening with him. Shoto is more of a, this is my brother, can I save him? And he's more careful with how he uses his power. So he has a mental advantage to it also.
Yeah, I mean, Dobby can just go full on like rage mode and just not care.
That's possible. I go back to like the sports festival of where Shoto just freezes half in an arena. with like one move of his arm. And it's like, if I feel like he can just encase him in ice, but the story has shown us that Shoto doesn't do that very often, and it kind of bugs me. So I don't know what version of Shoto Todoroki are we going to get in that fight? Are we going to get peak, I can take you out with a flick of the wrist, or is it going to be him blasting all day like he's been doing the last couple of seasons?
We also haven't really seen Dabi's fullest potential, I don't think.
I guess this. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I just feel like Dabi could burn down an entire forest if they really just let him loose, honestly.
I guess my thing is in my Villain Academia arc when he's fighting Getten, and Getten is using, department store, gas station ice that he's using against Dabi, and they're tied. And it's like Shoto is way better than Getten. Why is he barely able to beat Getten? Is why I'm thinking Shoto would have an easier time. I don't know. That could just be he wasn't going all out because he didn't really care. I don't know. That's what I'm basing it off of. I think
there's a little more passion involved.
Yeah,
in this,
fair.
as opposed to fighting Getten.
That's totally fair. That's a fair assumption. It's just the one fight we've seen him in. He was fighting somebody with a weaker quirk than Shoto, and he wasn't doing very well, which is why I think it'd be a closer fight than you probably think. But again, and we literally see like it flying out of the gas station. That's what's so funny to me. They actually animated that part. It's so good. Guys, was there anything else you wanted to cover before we wrap this episode up?
No.
Nah, I think I'm good.
Awesome. Well, guys, that is My Hero Academia, chapter 348. Requited. Just a reminder, that word means a feeling, especially love, not returned or rewarded, which hurts. That just sucks. But Toga's crazy, so I totally get why Deku would not reciprocate feelings of affection towards her. With that said, that wraps up chapter 348. And next week, we're back on a Sunday schedule, which is cool. I don't know why it came out early, probably because it's the cover of Shonen Jump this week. Thought that was kind of odd. Can't wait to see what happens, though. Can't wait to get more of season 6. Is that promo image looks really dope. We haven't seen a lot of the pro heroes in a while, though Ryuki was missing, so that's a bummer.
Hey,
she is so important in that story arc. Why was she not in that promo image?
Because they were just like, we'll wait. We'll drop that surprise. Who knows? Hell.
They didn't want the Dragon Lady front and center, I guess. Oh, well. Isaac, what's happening here this week on the Amateur Otaku Podcast?
Well, we recently posted our Doron chapter. Review a couple of days ago. When this is getting up, we are having our week Attack on Titans episode as per usual. Mike and I did our My Hero Academia with Delantis episode, which contain everything from submitting to midnight, pussy bees, and horny old people, but that's besides the point. And we're also posted when this is coming up our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusader episode, which was something to say the least.
Definitely is something, right? That's a funny season.
It's certainly bizarre, that's for certain.
Indeed. Leo, what's happening at Geekly Goods?
Y'all. Well, first off, thanks as always for having me, guys. It's always a fun time talking My Hero Academia, the latest chapters. If you're on YouTube, come on over to Geekly Goods. Just search that up in the search bar, or you can type in youtube.com/Geekly Goods. Coming up this week, we got a nice slew of content, guys. We've got Spider-Man No Way Home bonus content to cover this week, and also final Oscars predictions, because that's right around the corner. And I admittedly forgot this was like the week before the Oscars. So yeah, what the fuck am I doing this Oscar stuff? Yeah. Also, we've got The Last City. Got a review for that. I also already have a review for Everything Everywhere All at Once, but we'll be having a multiverse explained video to talk a little bit more about that feature in the film. And then a Q&A live stream. So come on over, guys. We got a lot of content coming up this week, and we'll see you there.
That sounds
awesome.
sweet.
Awesome. Until you mentioned, I forgot how close the Oscars were. Moving them into March and not having them in February has just thrown me off so much.
Man, and then last year they were on my birthday, April 25th, and I was like, "Jeez, this is like way in the year."
Yeah, it's so because I'm forgetting some of those movies already. I have to go back through. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember watching this movie 7 or 8 months ago.
Yeah, there's a few that I got to rewatch. I do got to rewatch Drive My Car. There's a few that I just am like, okay, they're not fresh on my mind. I got to go back.
Yeah, totally get that. Guys, I just want to let you know that Viz just announced at the time of we were recording this that Jujutsu Kaisen Movie Zero, the manga it's adapted from, is now available for free on the Viz app.
Awesome!
So you guys can go read that. The movie's also really good, so go watch that as well. We'll cover that when it's available on VOD, because theatrical releases are weird sometimes with anime and covering that, but we'll get to that at another time. As for me, you can check me out at NoviceCinephile on all social media platforms. TikTok, I have a review of Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. On the YouTube side, I have a reaction to Fooly Cooly Progressive Episode 3. It's a beach episode. It's crazy. I'll just put it that way. Also, we have an episode of The Chatter After making its debut on my channel, Novice Cinephile on YouTube, where we're talking The Godfather on its 50th anniversary. Should be a fun time. Isaac is going to have some controversial thoughts, I assume, but check that out.
That's always.
Hey, I mean, it's a classic, dude. We have to cover it. Especially 50 years. That's amazing. With that said, we'll catch you guys next week for more My Hero Academia, My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Doran, Attack on Titan. That's coming up. We're doing those live, so make sure you check out those as well. Have it awesome. Go beyond. Plus Ultra.